What's up, everybody? How we doing this good Thursday afternoon? Welcome. This is break number 799 BD. This is a case of 2025 Panini Prizm Baseball. 12-box break. Okay, there's your first 6. Your next 3. And your next 3. 12 boxes. Here we go. Good luck, everybody. Box number 1. All right, here we go, guys. Box number 1. On the Pulsar, we got Juan Valera to 499. That's 57 of 499. We got Blake Burke on the Silver Prism. Deion Sanders on the Prismatic. On the Orange Wave, that is going to the non-MLB and other spot. That is Ethan Holiday. That is 36 out of 49. 36 of 49. Our first auto is Max Rajcic. That is 96 of 99 going to the St. Louis Cardinals. 96 of 99 on the red auto. We got a Fireworks of Paul Skeens. Red, Ozzie Smith to 299. That is 101 of 299. Silver Prism, Austin Wells for the Yankees. Dingers of James Tibbs, that's for the Giants. Pulsar, Jackson Chourio to 499. That is 58 of 499. Thomas Harrington on the Red Wave. Talisman of Travis Bazzana. Reagan Smith on the blue. Blue is to 199, 27 to 199 for the White Sox. Jordan Lawler on the silver prism. Connor Griffin on the prismatic. Next auto, that's a nice one. Silver prism auto of Jacob Wilson. This is not numbered. It is a silver prism Jacob Wilson auto for the A's. Nice hit for the A's. Ethan Anderson on the Pulsar to 499. 93 of 499. Blake Mitchell on the Red Wave. Chase Dolander on the Fireworks. Purple, that is Bronson Arroyo for the Red Sox. Purple is 84 to 149. Brady Montgomery on the silver prism. Dingers of Jim Thome. Red, Paul Molitor, that's for Milwaukee. Red to 299. That is 109 out of 299. Our next auto for the Milwaukee Brewers, Mike Bovee. That is 67 out of 199. 67 of 199 on the Pulsar auto. Mike Bovee for the Milwaukee Brewers. Some people say Bove. Talisman of Roman Anthony. Pulsar Michael Young for Texas. That is 337 out of 499. Alejandro Rosario on the silver. Cam Smith prismatic. Albert Pujols on the red checkerboard. Red checkerboard, that is 7 out of 99. And our first cherry blossom of the break is Carson Benj for the Mets. Carson Benj, that is 19 out of 20. 19 out of 20 for the Mets. Dingers of Ethan Holiday. Bryce Rainier for Detroit. Bryce Rainier blue, that is to 199, 46 of 199. Thomas White on the silver prism. Jesus Made prismatic. Bud Selig going to the other non-MLB. That is for Commissioner, 63 out of 499. Cooper Pratt on the Red Wave. Christian Moore on the prismatic. That is box number 1. Box number 2. What's up, All Cards Vegas? How you doing today? Everybody here? I'm doing well, thank you. Hate when the cards come out like this. We got a color blast. We got a color blast in this box. Nice. Color blast incoming. We got our case hit in the second box. Are you in the break, all Cards Vegas? God, I hope this is the only box like this. They had one box like this in the last case, too. All right, box number 2. Box number 2, here we go. We got a redemption for one of our autos. Bob Gibson on the green scope. Green scope, that is 44 out of 75. Our redemption. Throwback signatures, card number 5. That is Jackson Churio. Jackson Churio on the auto going to Milwaukee. That's Craig Yoho on the blue to 199, 115 to 199. Chase Dolander on the silver prism. James Wood on the fireworks. Robin Ventura on the Pulsar. That is 204 out of 499. Ethan Salas red wave. Christian Campbell fireworks. So far, we got Bronson Arroyo for the Red Sox on the red. That is 87 of 299. Cleveland Culpepper for Minnesota. Silver prism. Vance Honeycutt on the dingers. Our next auto is going to the Tampa Bay Rays. That's Theo Gillen. Theo Gillen, 84 out of 99. 84 of 99 on the red auto. Carson Bench for the Mets on the Pulsar to 499. Carson Bench, that is 391 out of 499 for the Mets. Braylon Doty on the red wave. Jace Young on the talisman. Red checkerboard, that's Colt Keith for Detroit to 99, 51 of 99. Brandon Sprout for the Mets, Silver Prism, Kyle Teal Prismatic. Give me a second, guys. Okay, sorry. Here we go. Cole Keith on the Pulsar. That is $327 of $499. Our auto, Ryan Waldschmidt. That's going to the Diamondbacks. That is a Pulsar auto. That is 5 out of 199. 5 of 199 on the Ryan Waldschmidt. Leo Tavares on the Dingers. Red, Kevin Alcantara. That's going to the Cubs. 183 out of 299. Paul Mahler on the Silver Prism. That's a Talisman of Charlie Condon. So we got our case hit, Color Blast, plus we have our Snakeskin. Paul Skeens on the Prismatic. Our Snakes in behind Elston Howard. 102 out of 499 goes to, that is Grover Alexander for the Chicago Cubs. Grover Alexander for the Chicago Cubs on the Snakeskin. We're going to have our Color Blast in this one. Alright, here we go. Tink Hence to $4.99 on the Pulsar. 313 out of 499. Kyle Teal on the Silver Prism. Roman Anthony on the Dingers. Marcelo Mayer for the Red Sox. That is purple to 149. 141 out of 149. Greg Maddux on the Silver Prism. Ryan Waldschmidt on the Fireworks. If the camera bothers you, I apologize. Nothing I can do about it. That's an eBay thing. And but I do have the break going live on YouTube right at the moment, so you can switch over to YouTube if you like. Alright, we got Jace Lavalette on the red to $2.99. That is 146 out of 299. Jeff Bagwell on the red wave. And we have a rookie color blast. Sorry, brother. I wish I could fix it. How about Dylan Cruz, rookie color blast for the Washington Nationals? Dylan Cruz on the color blast. Wow. Nice hit for Washington. All right, box number 3. It's been a pretty good case so far. Yes, it has. Box number 3. Box number 3. Luis Baez for Houston. Luis Baez on the red. That is 193 out of 299. Red Ladder Silver Prism. Tommy White on the fireworks. Joe DiMaggio on the Pulsar to 499. 215 out of 499. Zach Veen, that's on the red wave for Colorado. Aiden Miller on the prismatic. Junior Caminero, who's having a great year this year for Tampa Bay. Junior Caminero, that's 11 out of 49. Aaron Judge on the silver prism. Jace Lavalette on the dingers. First auto is a nice one. That's Heston Kjerstad. Heston Kjerstad, Baltimore Orioles. Sensational signature, not numbered. Bob Gibson, that's to 299 on the red for St. Louis. 73 of 299. Monty Irvin on the red wave. Christian Moore on the prismatic for the Angels. Chase Meadroff to 499. That's for the White Sox. 466 out of 499. For Milwaukee, Craig Yoho, silver prism. Dylan Cruz on the talisman. Braylon Payne on the blue. Our next auto, Chase Davis for St. Louis. Chase Davis, not numbered, for the St. Louis Cardinals. Braylon Payne for Milwaukee on the blue. That's 91 of 199. 91 of 199. Cam Smith on the dingers. Pulsar Hong Suk Jang for the Dodgers. That's 240 out of 499. Robin Ventura on the Silver Prism. Kellen Lindsay on the Fireworks. Tommy Troy, that's purple. Tommy Troy purple, that is 23 out of 149 for the Diamondbacks. Behind that, it's a really nice cherry blossom of Ching Shin Ko. Chin Shin Ko for the Dodgers. 20 out of 20. Nice hit for the Dodgers. What's up, Di? How are you, Di Kim? James Triantos. James Woods, red to 299. That is 231 out of 299. Levi Wells for the Orioles. Silver Prism. Marcelo Mayer. Leo Tavares to 499 on the Pulsar. That is 437 out of 499. Bryce Eldridge on the red wave. That's Travis Bazana on the Prismatic. That one is 33 out of 99. Pudge Rodriguez to 99. That is 80 out of 99. Aiden Miller on the Silver Prism. Braden Montgomery on the Dingers. Blue, that's Randy Johnson. The big unit. That's flowing to the Yankees. 59 out of 199. Our last auto of this box, Frank Mozzicato for the Kansas City Royals. That is 111 out of 199 on the Pulsar auto. Slade Caldwell for the Diamondbacks. Box number 4. Box number 4, here we go. Leo DeRocher, that's going to the Cubs. That is 386 out of 499. Robbie Snelling is our first auto of this box. That's going to the Miami Marlins. Robbie Snelling, prismatic of Hagen Smith. Green, that's Johnny Farmello for the Mariners. 17 out of 75. Silver Prism of Michael Young for Texas. Spencer Jones on the Fireworks. Got our first mojo coming. Jet Williams on the red. Red is to 299. 100 out of 299. Our mojo goes to Tampa Bay. That is Trey Morgan. Trey Morgan on the mojo. That is number 19 out of 25. 19 out of 25. Dingers of Jackson Churio. Pulsar of Joe Torre. That's for the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves, 14 out of 499. Spencer Getty, Silver Prism. Hagen Smith for Chicago on the Talisman. Hagen Smith for the White Sox. That's purple. Purple Hagen Smith, 93 out of 149. Red Wave, that's Zebby Matthews. Zebby Matthews on the Red Wave. That is Bubba Chandler on the Red Fireworks to 99. Or excuse me, 199. That is 20 out of 199. Colt Keith, red to 299. That is 31 of 299. Tommy White on the Silver Prism. Roman Anthony on the Prismatic. Pulsar, that's Emilian Petrie for Tampa Bay. That is 444 to 499. Kyle Monzardo for Cleveland on the auto. This one is not numbered. Travis Bazzana for Cleveland on the Fireworks. Rintaro Sasaki going to the non-MLB other spot. That is 140 out of 199 blue. Carter Holton on the Silver Prism for Atlanta. Ken Griffey Jr. on the Dingers. Pulsar of Matt Horvath for Tampa Bay to 499. 322 of 499. Ken Griffey Jr. for Cincinnati. Red Wave. Christian Moore. Red, that's Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw for the Cubs. That is to 299. 84 of 299. Rogers Hornsby. Bubba Chandler on the Fireworks. Seaver King on the red auto for Washington. Seaver King to 99. 80 out of 99. Prospect Signatures auto for Washington. Brett Saberhagen to 499 on the Pulsar. 22 of 499. Red Wave, Roberto Clemente. Talisman, that is Chase Burns. Checkerboard of Hyung Suk Jang. 33 of 99. Elston Howard on the Silver Prism. Jacob Wilson Prismatic. Box number 5. Yeah, that's Dylan Cruz Color Blast block. Manzardo. Yeah, I think we already pulled some Manzardo too. All right, box number 5. Here we go. Thomas White on the purple. Tommy White, 63 of 149. Drew Beam on the Silver Prism. Charles Lozana on the Firework. Bert Campaneris on the red. Bert Campaneris, that is 194 of 299. Hector Rodriguez for Cincinnati on the auto. Dingers of Ken Griffey Jr. Cam Caminetti for Atlanta on the Pulsar to 499. 82 of 499. Luis Baez, Silver Prism. Christian Moore, Talisman. Checkerboard, that is Dylan Dreeling for Texas. Dylan Dreeling for Texas, 57 of 99. Junior Caminero on the red wave. Chase Burns on the Talisman. Alejandro Rosario on the blue for Texas. That is 171 out of 199. Nelson Cruz on the Silver Prism. Jacob Wilson on the Prismatic. Next auto is a sick one. That is Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. Not numbered on the auto. Franklin Arias to 499. 30 out of 499. John Smoltz Red Wave. Talisman of Marcelo Mayer. Red, Tommy Troy for Arizona. Tommy Troy, that is 31 of 299. Ricky Tiedemann on the Silver Prism. James Triantos on the Prismatic. Mojo coming. Rintaro Sasaki to 499. Going to the other spot. That is 105 out of 499. And that is a Mojo Auto to 25 of Nolan Chanuel. The only bright spot the Angels have had all year long. Even brighter than Mike Trout. That is 25 out of 25. Nice hit for the Nolan Chanuel and the Angels. Kellen Lindsey for the Dodgers. Purple, that is Robin Yount for the Brew Crew. That is 97 out of 149. Luke Kershaw for Minnesota. Dingers of Cam Smith for Houston. We got a gold vinyl 1 of 1 coming. 1 of 1 coming. This case just keeps getting better. It's behind Rod Carew. We got a gold vinyl 1 of 1. Or is that what? Yeah, Panini, it's a gold vinyl. Topps, it's a super fractor. Yeah, I'm saying the Angels have not been good. I'll say it. I'll say it again. Tank Hence on the Pulsar. That is 67 of 499. Bronson Arroyo Silver Prism. Prismatic of Christian Moore. Purple, that's Chipper Jones for Atlanta. Chipper Jones, that is 81 of 149. Brady House on the Red Wave. Roman Anthony on the Talisman Red. This Talisman Red, I believe, is 199. It is 157 of 199. I'm going to grab this Rod Carew right here. Rod Carew Red. 115 of 299. The gold vinyl 101 is sitting there, guys, right behind that yellow sweat card. It's coming up next as soon as I put these away. Bobby Witt, sorry, bud. You're good. We got a 101 coming. All right, here we go, guys. Good luck. Gold vinyl 1 of 1. That kind of looks like a Braves hat with no logo. How about John Smoltz for the Atlanta Braves? John Smoltz, gold vinyl, 1/1. There it is, 1/1 John Smoltz. Congratulations to the Braves spot. That is a 1/1 Hall of Fame pitcher, John Smoltz. Woo! That's sick. That is sick. Wow. William, yes, that is a beauty. Do you have the Braves? Do you have the Braves, William? Is that you tonight? Box number 6. Not you. Wow. Mellow Bane. Yeah, that is pretty sexy. We're going to go with a Hall of Famer. Yeah, whoever has the Braves, congratulations. So far we've pulled a snakeskin of a Hall of Famer, Color Blast of Dylan Cruz rookie, and a gold vinyl 1/1 of a Hall of Famer, John Smoltz. Woo! This, yeah. Oh, that's a nice rip. Do you have the Braves today? Alright, this is box number 6. Box number 6. Here we go. Pulsar of Darren Baker. Darren Baker, that is 19 out of 499. Dylan Dreeling for the Texas Rangers on the auto. Dylan Dreeling. Not numbered. Mellow Bane, congratulations. You are the lucky winner of that one. You got the Braves in the break. Congratulations, my friend. That is sick. Chase Meadroth for the White Sox, 187 out of 199. Neon Deion Sanders for the Braves on the Silver Prizm. Leo Tavares. Pulsar of Terry Francona. Cherry Blossom behind it. Francona, 24 of 499. And that is Sebastian Walcott for the Texas Rangers. Sebastian Walcott, Texas Rangers, 19 out of 20 on the Cherry Blossom. Dude, we've had 3 Cherry Blossoms in the first half of this break. Not even through the first half yet. This is great. Need some Yankees, J. Dot says. Okay. Did you have the Yankees in the last break of this on Tuesday, J. Dot, by chance? Was that you? Dingers of James Wood. No? Oh, man. Good. Because we only pulled an Aaron Judge Color Blast last time. Ohtani, Judge, or Trout autos in this. You know what? I don't know. You'd have to look at the checklist, my friend. I really didn't have a chance to look at it. So, alright, here we go. There's Ryan Clifford for the Mets. Ryan Clifford, 32 of 299. Hagen Smith, Silver Prizm. Chase Young. That is Alex Rodriguez for Seattle to 499. 389 out of 499. Sebastian Walcott, Red Wave. Kumar Rocker. That one is numbered 4 out of 10. Gold Kumar Rocker for Texas. Gold Prismatic to 10. 4 out of 10. That is sick right there for the Texas Rangers. Red checkerboard of Frank Thomas. That is Frank Thomas for the Oakland A's, guys. 59 out of 99. Tommy Troy, Charlie Condon. Does anybody even remember that Frank Thomas played for the Oakland A's? Because I sure as hell didn't. I forgot he played for the A's. I think it was only for a year at the end of his career. Alright, let's get through box 6 here. Here we go, the rest of it. Kumar Rocker on the blue. Kumar Rocker, that's blue for Texas. 44 of 199. And our autograph. Going to the Cubs. Jackson Wiggins on the Pulsar auto to 199. That is 33 out of 199. 33 of 199, Pulsar auto. Dingers of Leo Tavares. Pulsar of Justin Upton for Atlanta to 499. 52 of 499. Josue De Paula for the Dodgers. Charlie Condon. Joe Torre, purple to 149 for the Atlanta Braves. Excuse me, 138 out of 149. Travis Bazzana on the Red Wave. Paul Skeens. Bert Campaneris for the Oakland A's on the red. That is 169 of 299. Billy Mick for the Minnesota Twins. Brian Walder-Schmidt for the Braves. Next auto. How about a legendary signature of Johan Santana? Johan Santana for the Minnesota Twins. That is not numbered. That is pretty sick, though. James Wood to 499 for the Nationals. 493 of 499. Leo DeRocher on the Red Wave. Roman Anthony on the Dingers. Paul Skeens, nice green scope to 75. 36 of 75. In my book, he'll probably be the only pitcher that wins a Cy Young with a losing record. Al Kaline for Detroit. Jack Leiter. And that is box number 6. All right. 6 down, 6 to go. All right. Box number 7. Box number 7, here we go. Whitey Ford for the Yankees to $4.99. That's 75 of $4.99. Nolan Ryan. Leo Tavares. We got orange. Dontrell Willis. That's going to the Miami Marlins. Miami, 42 of 49. Mike Schmidt on the red wave. Dylan Cruz on the dingers. Chase Davis on the blue. That is 172 out of 199. Dylan Head on the silver prism. James Tibbs on the firework. For the Dodgers, Hai Song Kim on the auto. Not numbered. Cam Smith to $4.99 for Houston. 130 out of $4.99. Bryce Rainier for Detroit on the red wave. Jesus Made Prismatic. Dalton Rushing for the Dodgers on the purple. That is 65 of 149. Gary Sheffield for the Yankees on the silver prism. Ethan Holiday on the dingers going to the non-MLB other spot. Franklin Arias, red. 195 out of 299. Augustin Ramirez for the Miami Marlins on the sensational signature, not numbered. Cam Smith. Pulsar, Aaron Escobar, Phillies, that is 231 out of 499. Jace Jung on the Silver Prism for Detroit. Roman Anthony on the Talisman. Red checkerboard, that's Chase Dollander. Chase Dollander, that's Colorado, 21 of 99. Noble Mayer on the Red Wave for the Marlins. Jim Thome on the Dingers. Blue, that's Whitey Ford for the Yankees. Whitey Ford blue for the Yankees, 44 of 199. Albert Pujols Silver Prism. Chase Dollander on the Fireworks. Trey Savage to 499, 193 of 499. Rogers Hornsby on the Red Wave. That is a prismatic of Kyle Teal for the White Sox. That one is numbered 82 out of 199. Max Muncy for the A's, 270 out of 299. Will Wagner, Toronto Blue Jays, Silver Prism. Connor Griffin for Pittsburgh. Mike Schmidt on the Pulsar. That is 118 out of 499. Antonio Anderson on the auto, not numbered for the Red Sox. Travis Bazzana Talisman. Got some more penny sleeves. Here we go. Box number 8. Robin Ventura on the blue. That's Robin Ventura blue. That's 117 out of 199. Our next auto, prismatic Drew Jones for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That is 41 out of 99. 41 of 99. Spencer Jones on the fireworks. That's Craig Yoho. Milwaukee, that is 22 of 499. Nolan Ryan, Silver Prism. Dingers of Jackson Churio. Green to 75 is Johan Santana for Minnesota. That is 60 of 75. Behind that is Joser Gonzalez on the Mojo to 25. 2 out of 25 on the Mojo. Hurston Waldrop, that is to 299, 151 of 299. That's for the Braves. Chase Burns on the Silver Prism. Roman Anthony on the Prismatic. Ozzie Smith to 499. That is 329 out of 499. Gary Sheffield Red Wave for the Yankees. George Lombard for the Yankees on the Prismatic. That one is 139 out of 199. Alex Rodriguez, Seattle, 14 out of 149. Tom Glavine, Silver Prism. Travis Bazzana. Willie Stargell, that's red to 299, 22 of 299. Wow. Chucky Knobloch for the Twins. Chuck Knobloch for the Twins on the sensational auto. Dingers of Ken Griffey Jr. Pulsar, David Shields, Kansas City, 125 of 499. Chase Young, Silver Prism. Christian Moore. Blue, Takoa Roby for St. Louis. That's 2 out of 199. Luke Dickerson on the Red Wave for Washington. Bubba Chandler. James Triantos for the Cubs on the Pulsar to 499, 3 of 499. Travis Bazzana on the Silver Prism. Chase Burns on the Talisman. Next auto. That is Slammin' Sammy Sosa for the Chicago Cubs. Slammin' Sammy Sosa. Nice hit for the Cubbies. If you got the Cubs, congrats. Nice hit. Whitey Ford on the red to 299 for the Yankees. 207 of 299. Robin Ventura on the red wave. Jacob Wilson Prismatic. Levi Walls for Baltimore to 499. 416 of 499. Joe DiMaggio, Silver Prism. Slade Caldwell on the Fireworks. All right, box number 9. Sorry, I got 2 boxes in there. They're on the chair. All right, box number 9, guys. Box number 9. So far, it's been a really solid break. We need a few more big hits. It'd be really nice. Had some good autos in this break. Some really nice autos. Had some nice autos. A nice color blast. A great 1 of 1 gold vinyl. And we'll be doing this break again on Sunday night. Or Sunday afternoon, guys. So Sunday afternoon, if you didn't get your team today, you have a chance on Sunday to get your team. Doing another full case break of this. All right, here we go. Agustin Ramirez, that is to 499. That is 143 out of 499. Oh, that's a nice auto behind that. One of the top prospects for the Chicago White Sox. Very young, very up-and-coming team. There's Jacob Gonzalez, Pulsar auto should be to 199. There it is, 182 out of 199. Nice hit for the White Sox there. Talisman of Bryce Renier. Frank Thomas for the A's again on the blue, 43 of 199. Heston Kjerstad on the silver. Braden Montgomery on the prismatic for the White Sox. We got our first gold of the break. Rhett Lauder. Chipper Jones on the prismatic, on the Pulsar, 18 out of 499. And our first gold of the break is a old school player. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer or not, but that's Andy Van Slyke for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Gold to 10. 6 out of 10. I guess this is the second gold. Forgot about that prismatic Kumar Rocker. So this is our second gold, but this is the first true gold. There we go. Purple, Grady Sizemore. Y'all out there remember Grady Sizemore, 73 out of 149. Haven't heard that name in a while. Vlad Guerrero Sr. on the Silver Prism. That's for Montreal going to Washington. We got Hideki Matsui on the dingers for the Yankees. Colt Emerson, red for Seattle. That's to 299, 188 out of 299. Juan going Gonzalez on the red wave. And behind that is a Chase Burns firework. Nice Chase Burns red firework. That is 148 out of 199. 148 of 199 for the Cincinnati Reds. Hideki Matsui to 499 for the Yankees. 19 of 499. J.C. Esperanza for the Yankees. On the silver, Bryce Eldridge. Brock Porter on the red checkerboard for Texas. That is 72 of 99. And the auto behind it goes to the Red Sox. Justin Reamer. Justin Reamer, Pulsar auto to 199. 108 out of 199. 108 of 199. Kumar Rocker on the prismatic. Blue, that's Yoandry Morales for Washington. 173 of 199. Brooks Lee for Minnesota. Brooks Lee for Minnesota on the silver prism. Nick Kurtz on the fireworks. Pulsar of Rogers Hornsby for the Cardinals. 51 of 499. Ozzie Smith, Red Wave. Dingers of Miguel Cabrera. Roberto Clemente to 299. 104 out of 299. Bubba Chandler, silver prism. Talisman of Luis Angel Acuna. That is an auto, Mojo auto to 25 of Christian Moore for the Angels. Their number one prospect, Christian Moore for the Angels. That is numbered 14 out of 25. 14 out of 25. Both of our Mojo autos have been Angels. Moore and Shanuel. Rintaro Sasaki on the Red Wave. Chase Dolander on the Prismatic. Purple. Juan Gonzalez for Texas. 138 out of 149. That's Darryl Strawberry for the Mets. Silver prism. David Ortiz, Big Papi on the Dingers. That is box number 9. Box number 10. Box number 10. Going to use a player that could have been so much better. Didn't he play better after he left Cleveland? Like every other player that leaves Cleveland? Like CC Sabathia? You know I love you, blah. You know I love you. No Yankee autos yet. No. Still got 3 boxes, which means 9 autos. J. Dot. You know I love you, bro. I have faith in me too. I'm gonna be mad at myself if I don't pull a Yankee. So, all right, here we go. Box number 10. Another 1/1 gold vinyl. Another 1/1 gold vinyl. 2 in 1 case. Second of the case. Here we go. I'm not even going to wait this time. Oh, it could be a Yankee. I see black and white pictures. It's not, though. It's Al Kaline, though, for the Detroit Tigers. Oh, Jesus. J-Dot, I thought we had you a gold vinyl 101, baby. Al Kaline 101 for Detroit. Oh man, this has definitely been a hot case, yes. James Triantos to $4.99 for the Cubs. Right behind that to 75, Owen Casse for the Cubs. 14 of 75. Yoendry Monegro for the Red Sox. George Lombard on the prismatic for the Yankees. That's David Ortiz, Big Poppy Blue, 57 of 199. Braden Taylor, Tampa Bay Red Wave. How about David Ortiz on the Red Dingers? That's a Red Dingers. That should be a 199. 198 out of 199. My goodness. Kyle DeBarge for Minnesota to $4.99. 400 of $4.99. Junior Caminero. Big Poppy on the Dingers. Jake Peavy for San Diego. Red. That is 29 out of 299. That's Josh Knopf for Milwaukee on the auto. Chase Dollander on the prismatic. Purple, Ching Sin Ko for the Dodgers. That is 60 out of 149. How about prospect Colt Keith? No longer a prospect for the Detroit Tigers, but there's a nice one for Detroit. And Dollander on the talisman. Dude, the names in this, the autos. The names of the autos in the autos, wow, has been sick today. We've had some really good prospects, really good autos. Checkerboard of Wyatt Sanford for Pittsburgh. Wyatt Sanford, 3 of 99. Deion Sanders Silver Prism for Atlanta. Lombard. Brody Brecht for Colorado. Brody Brecht, 136 of 199. Dontrell Willis for the Fish. There's Paul Skeens on the talisman. Nick Kurtz to 499. Possible Rookie of the Year, American League, 24 499. Ethan Holiday on the Silver Prism going to the other non-MLB spot. Tommy White on the Dingers. Next auto for the Dodgers, Kellen Lindsey. Kellen Lindsey for the Dodgers, not numbered. Tony Perez, red for the Reds. That's to 299, 91 of 299. Connor Norby on the Red Wave. Jack Leiter on the Fireworks. Robin Ventura for the White Sox on the Pulsar, 256 out of 499. Tony La Russa. That is Dylan Cruz. Pablo Sandoval for the Giants. That's to 299. 159 of 299. Josue De Paula. Kalen Culpepper on the Dingers for Minnesota. Two boxes to go. Grab some more top loaders. All right. Let's slide that one out. That is box number 11. Box number 11. Two Hall of Fame gold vinyl 1-of-1s. Whew. In a color blast of Dylan Cruz. And a Hall of Fame snakeskin. Unreal. What a case. All right, box number 11. Box number 11, here we go. Ching Sen Ko for the Dodgers. 86 of 499. Vance Honeycutt Silver Prism. Acuna for the Mets on the Talisman. Greg Maddux on the red checkerboard, 1099. That is 28 out of 99. Bud Selig on the red wave. Dingers of Miguel Cabrera. And Escobar for Philadelphia. 19 of 199. Greg Maddux Silver Prism. Nick Kurtz Fireworks. That is Jack Leiter on the autograph. Red auto, Jack Leiter on the blue and red color match for the Texas Rangers. That one is 18 out of 99. Kyle DeBarge for Minnesota. That is 197 out of 499. Josur Gonzalez for the Giants. Kumar Rocker. John Smoltz on the purple. John Smoltz 108 out of 149. Mason Wynn on the silver prism. Cut Bryce Eldridge for the Giants on the talisman. Charlie Condon on the red. That is 299 out of 299. Chase Meadroth for the White Sox on the sensational signature. Dingers of Hideki Matsuri. Bubba Chandler for Pittsburgh. That is 196 of 499. Roberto Clemente for Pittsburgh. Red Lauder for the Reds. Orange, Johnny Bench for the Reds. Orange Bench, that is 30 out of 49. We got a Vance Honeycutt on the red wave. Montgomery for the White Sox on the prismatic. Drew Beam, red, that's for Kansas City, 220 out of 299. Kalen Culpepper, silver prism. Bryce Rainier on the talisman. Hyun-Suk Jang for the Dodgers. That is 425 of 499. Dontrell Willis, red wave. You got a talisman of Jace Young for Detroit. Jace Young for Detroit on the talisman to 25 mojo. That is 18 out of 25. Jarlin Susana for Washington on the blue. That is 35 out of 199. Tink Hence, silver prism. James Wood on the firework. Josh Gibson going to the other non-MLB spot. Our last auto in the box is there. Talisman of Jack Leiter. Josh Gibson, 99 of 499. Our last auto of the box. Will Wagner going to the Blue Jays. Will Wagner blue to the Blue Jays. That is 7 out of 49. 7 of 49 on the auto. And we are down to one box. Box number 12. Good luck on the last box, everybody. That's Carson Williams on the red checkerboard. That is 23 of 99. Aiden Smith on the auto for Tampa Bay. Aiden Smith for Tampa. Got Hagen Smith on the prismatic. Vance Honeycutt to 499. 206 of 499. Bobby Witt Jr. Silver Prism. Spencer Jones Fireworks. After this box, we'll do a full recap. Jace Lavalette going to the other non-MLB spot. 169 of 299. Chase Davis on the red wave. Hagen Smith, that is a prismatic. That looks red. It is. It's 90 out of 199. 90 of 199. Mel Ott, that's for the New York Giants. 121 of 499. Christian Campbell, Red Sox. Jackson Churio on the Dingers. Blue, Paul Molitor for Milwaukee, 132 out of 199. I'm sorry, that is Paul Molitor for Toronto. Johnny Farmello on the red wave. Seattle, Hagen Smith, Talisman. Owen Cassay, $4.99. That's $2.75 of $4.99. How about Benito Santiago for the Giants? Roman Anthony. Final 6 packs. Here we go. Gary Sheffield. I'm going to save the auto. Travis Bazzana. Charlie Condon, purple color match. That is 131 out of 149. Juan Gonzalez, silver prism. Ken Griffey Jr. on the dingers. Another auto. Sean Coe, 57 of 499. Roy Campanella. Joe DiMaggio, red to 299. 126 out of 299. Franklin Arias for the Red Sox, silver. Bubba Chandler. Two packs to go. And then we got our 2 autos to finish. 2 packs, 2 autos. Green scope of Miles Naylor. That's for the Oakland A's to 75. 49 of 75. Andy Pettit, red wave for the Yankees. Chase Burns. I see, looks like one of these is a Mojo auto. So, should be numbered to 199. I don't know. Our last pack, and then our last 2 autos are right there. Adrian Gonzalez for the Padres. That's to 499, 393 out of 499. Leo DeRozier. Jacob Wilson. All right, Gary Pettit for the Yankees. He's to 299. 146 out of 299. And the auto behind him, our second to last auto of the break. Adrian Santana for the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay Rays. Adrian Santana. And behind Thomas Harrington. Looks like a Pulsar auto. For the Giants, Bryce Eldridge. Bryce Eldridge, Prospect Auto, 66 out of 199. And that will finish the break. Alrighty. We'll get this area cleared. Alright, here we go, guys. Recap time. Alrighty. Again, these are the $4.99. I will not read off the names until we get to 99s. Here we go. Alright, these are to $2.99. To $2.99 for you. To $1.99. Hagen Smith on the Prismatic. David Ortiz on the Dingers. Chase Burns on the Fireworks. George Lombard Jr. Prismatic. Kyle Teal Prismatic. Talisman of Roman Anthony. Fireworks Bubba Chandler. To $149 purples. To $99 red checkerboard. Carson Williams, Greg Maddox, Wyatt Sanford, Brock Porter, Chase Dolander, Frank Thomas, Dylan Dreiling, Hyung Suk Yang. Yeah, Ivan Rodriguez. We've got Travis Bazana on the Prismatic. Colt Keith, Albert Pujols. To $75 on the green scope. Miles Naylor, Owen Cassage, Johan Santana, Paul Skeens, Johnny Farmelo, and Bobby Gibson. To $49 on the orange wave. Johnny Bench, Dontrell Willis, Junior Caminero, and Ethan Halliday. On the Mojos, Jace Jung Talisman, Josua Gonzalez, and Trey Morgan. On the Cherry Blossoms, Sebastian Walcott, Hyung Sheen Ko, and Carson Benj. Our golds, Andy Van Slyke, and a Prismatic of Kumar Rocker. These are non-numbered autos. Adrian Santana, Aiden Smith, Chase Meadroff, Kellen Lindsay, Colt Keith, Josh Knopf, Chuck Knobloch, Antonio Anderson, Augustin Ramirez, Hae Sung Kim. We got Dylan Treeling, Hector Rodriguez, Kyle Manzardo, Robbie Snelling, Chase Davis, Heston Kerstead, Jacob Wilson. We got a throwback signature of Jackson Churio going to the Milwaukee Brewers. Johan Santana from Minnesota. We got Bobby Witt Jr. and Sammy Sosa. All right, to 199 on the Pulsar Autos. Bryce Eldridge, Justin Reamer, Jacob Gonzalez, Jackson Wiggins, Frank Mozzicato, Ryan Walderschmidt, and Mike Bove. Red to 99, Jack Leiter, Seaver King, Theo Gillum, Max Rashik, and Drew Jones on the Prismatrix. Blue auto to 49. We got Will Wagner for Toronto. Mojo autos, both for the Angels. We got Christian Moore and Nolan Shanuel, both to 25. Our snakeskin was Grover Alexander. Let's do it this way. Our gold vinyl 101s, we had two. Al Kaline, Detroit Tigers, and John Smoltz, Atlanta Braves. And we had a color blast of Dylan Cruz for Washington. There's your break, my friends. Appreciate you all for being here. Hope you guys hit something nice. Hope you had a good time. Hope to see y'all next time. Have a great afternoon. Talk to you later. Peace.